All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Swami, Srila Gurudev.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Samaveda Bhakti.
Jai.
It's not my original language. It's a little difficult. They have a nice lecture where Prabhupada's talking about this. That everything may not be exactly perfect, but what is the heart, what is the meaning, what is the consciousness, what is the intention? This is the most important thing. Other thing is not so critical. I was reading, welcome. Are you happy? Are you, yeah, you're good? Move a little closer. Here you go. So I was reading a very nice lecture today. Srila Prabhupada was speaking Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.11. This is September 12, 1973 in London. Of course, London right now is under fire. The whole world is under fire right now. Tapo Divyam. Divine austerities. Srila Prabhupada. Welcome everybody who just came.
Hare Krishna.
We see some new and old faces. Thank you for joining with us. This is a very nice class, Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Prabhupada, September 1973 in London. And Prabhupada speaking in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.11, and that verse is Tadbhag Dasago Janataga Viplavo Yasmin Prati Shlokam Apadhavyat Ati Naman Anantasya Yasho Vipaniyat Shrinvanti Gayanti Granati Sadhava. Did I do all right? You understand Sanskrit? So you don't know even if I did all right. But I tried. This translation says that, on the other hand, the literature, which is full of the descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name and the fame and the forms and the pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord Bhagavan. This is a different creation because it is full of transcendental words which are directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. This is the real revolution, spiritual revolution, and it's meant to go into the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. And such transcendental literatures, even though they're imperfectly composed, are heard and sung and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So someone is very pure, pious, very honest, they'll be able to hear and understand the essence of these teachings from the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the purport it says, Prabhupada says here, that it is the qualification of great thinkers to pick up the best even from the worst. It is said that the intelligent person should pick up nectar in the political field. They never consider themselves really enemies. They respected each other, they're friendly with each other. And so with China, without any ill feeling towards each other. And the reason is that they lived in those days. They're all trying to be God conscious, sincerely, some way, somehow or other. Because of that mood and atmosphere of God consciousness, every country over the surface of the world, they were God-fearing. They had fear of God, so don't do something wrong. Try to behave, some kind of ethical, moral, spiritual foundation. That world was God-fearing. They were more pure-hearted, more simple-minded. And there was no question of this political diplomacy. There is no cause of quarrel between the two countries, China and India, over land which is not very suitable for habitation. So you're fighting over land that nobody can even live on that land. It's not suitable for habitation. And certainly, there should be no cause for fighting or war on this issue. But due to this age of Kali, this age of quarrel, which we have discussed, there is always a chance of quarreling and fighting, even on slight provocation. And this is due not to the issue in question, but to the polluted atmosphere of this age. So because of polluted consciousness, polluted atmosphere of the sinful age, systemically there is propaganda by a section of the people to stop the glorification of the name and the fame of the Supreme Lord. This is good versus evil. Those who believe in God, God-fearing people, versus those who are atheistic and against God, demons, asura. So there's always this fighting between devotees and demons. And sometimes, especially in this age, because it's so degraded, sinful age, the consciousness is so low, so polluted, everyone has such a big false ego, that even on the slightest little provocation, nobody can tolerate it. Everybody's ready to fight. Everybody's ready to challenge the next person. So this is the age where they're trying to kill religion, right? Especially this different atheistic communism, right? These Satanists, this totalitarian fascism. They want to kill religion. They want to kill God, deny God, and the culture that believes in God. They want to just destroy all of that. And so this is very demoniac type of people and consciousness due to this age of Kali. Now, Prabhupada is speaking about this in the early 1970s. Right? So how has it ratcheted up today? And now it's not just one country, it's all of the countries. And even within the country, there's so much politics and so much polluted, contaminated consciousness, so much false ego, so much corruption, so much pollution. So this whole atmosphere is completely contaminated, polluted. Prabhupada says, therefore, there is such a great need for disseminating this message of the Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. And that, of course, that was Mahaprabhu's mission, was how to deliver all the living entities in all of the towns and the villages and the cities and the whole world, not just India. And so Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they understood that Mahaprabhu's mission was to deliver everybody. And so therefore they kept trying how to get to the West how to get to Canada and England and Europe and America and somehow deliver this message of the Srimad Bhagavatam, because it's only chance, because it's so pure philosophy. It only talks about Sanatan Dharma and Prem Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti. There's no selfishness, there's no material contamination, there's no material motivation. So only it's the purest of the pure literature which talks about Krishna and Prem Bhakti. And so if the world can get that message from the Srimad Bhagavatam, then gradually they would become purified and awaken to real spirituality, and that this would be the only real hope for humanity, especially as this age is degrading due to all of this sinful activity. Prabhupada says here, it is the duty of every responsible Indian to broadcast the transcendental message of the Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the whole world in order to do all the supermost good. So it's the responsibility, what is it? The duty of every responsible Indian to not just try to broadcast it, but to live according to the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then with that purity, with that faith, with that realization, go out and broadcast that message from Srimad Bhagavatam to the benefit of all the people across the globe. But Prabhupada says here, but because India has failed in her duty by neglecting this most responsible work and responsibility, therefore there is so much quarrel and so much trouble all over the world. So Prabhupada saying that if the Indians were really following Vedic culture, Sanatan Dharma, Davi Varnashram, and they set up such a pure, powerful example and position, they would help themselves, they would help their own country, and they would also be able to help the rest of the world because of the purity and the potency of that message. But because they got corrupted under the influence of this Kali Yuga, therefore they gave up their religion, they gave up their responsibility, they failed themselves, their family, their country, and the world. Prabhupada's taking responsibility on behalf of the Indians that had we done what we were supposed to be doing, we could have saved the rest of the world from having to be put into this type of situation. And now everyone is quarreling, they're fighting, there's so much trouble, so much disturbances all over the world. Prabhupada says, but we are very confident that if this transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam is received only by the leading men of the world, then certainly there will be a change of heart. And naturally the people in general will follow them. So Prabhupada's preacher to the preachers, he wants to preach to the intelligent class, the leaders of the world, that if they can change their consciousness and they can develop in their spiritual life, then that will influence the rest of the people that they are responsible for and that look up to them and consider them to be a leader. Prabhupada was convinced that if they could hear this message of the Srimad Bhagavatam, they will certainly, not maybe, certainly, they will have a change of heart. Can you less wind? Is this a new one? You want this one off? A little less? I feel like I'm going to take off like in a jet. If you see me lifting, I'm not like having some kind of spiritual elevation. I'm too big for that. That would be a nice trick though, right? So if they will have a change of heart by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, This is the spotless Purana, because it talks only about pure, loving, devotional service to God. It doesn't talk about karma or jnana or yoga or how to become a mystic yogi. It talks about prem bhakti, sanatan dharma. Dharma means sanatan dharma means bhakti. Every other so-called dharma is a kaitava dharma because it has some selfishness there, something I, me, mine. But Srimad Bhagavatam, it kicks out all kaitava dharma, only speaks about sanatan dharma, and that sanatan dharma to Daivi Vanashram. Not Vanashram, Daivi Vanashram. That means under God, under Krishna. Krishna set up that system for sacrifice and activity and work to be done for Yajna Purusha, for Krishna. That is the only Dharma, really, Sanatana. So if anyone can hear that message, if they're pious enough, if they're honest enough, if they're intelligent enough, and they just try to consider that message, that pure message of Srimad Bhagavatam, absolutely, certainly they'll have a change of heart, they'll become purified, and they'll wake up to this spiritual topic, spiritual subject matter. The mass of the people, the populations in general, they are just tools in the hands of the modern politicians and leaders of the people. How many times we're talking about this? Because there's such a bad consciousness, selfish consciousness, materially motivated consciousness. Therefore, they're not really cannot do good to the people, for the masses of the population. They just simply want to manipulate and control and exploit the population. So no matter what government is there, whatever ism is there, it's all more or less the same, because it's not for Krishna's pleasure and service and devotional service. It's for some man, some party, some group of individuals who want to simply manipulate, control, and exploit the populations, their populations. So people are just tools in the hands of the modern politicians and the leaders of the world.
Yes. Yes.
If there is a change of heart of the leaders only, certainly there will be a radical change in the atmosphere of the world. This one is hitting my feet. Is this one? No. Is that all right?
Maybe this.
So you can see the vision that if the leaders can take to Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, I think in one place he said, even if 1-3% of the people, the leaders, could become Krishna conscious, then the rest of the world's populations would become purified and they would become benefited if the leaders were God conscious, Krishna conscious, especially if they're Vaishnavas, pure Vaishnavas. Prabhupada says, we know that our honest attempt to present the great literature conveying these transcendental messages for reviving the God consciousness or Krishna consciousness of the people in general, and how to re-spiritualize the world and the world's atmosphere, it is fraught with many difficulties. Prabhupada said, this is my honest attempt how to deliver this transcendental message in order to revive God consciousness to the leaders and the people in general, how to re-spiritualize and purify the world's atmosphere. But in this presentation, it is mixed with many difficulties. Are presenting this matter in adequate language. So not presenting it in adequate language, especially in a foreign language, it will certainly fail. And then there'll be so many literary discrepancies, despite our honest attempts to present it in the most proper way. So Prabhupada's admitting that language may not be perfect, people may not be able to understand so clearly because of some cultural or language or translating it into other language, that there's going to be some discrepancy because there's not always exactly a clear translation. I remember Srila Govinda Swami, when he would speak about English language, he would say, this is such a nasty language, such a low-class kind of language. And I remember at first I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Oh, I speak English. Some little pinching, little pinching. But the more you learn about, I remember one time I was getting clarification from one of my Indian godbrothers. And I noticed he was talking about his brother, but he's calling his brother by different names. So then I said, why? Brother is brother. He said, no, older brother. That's one name. And then middle brother, equal brothers, that's a different name. And your younger brother, that's also a different name. So, whoa, there's some nuance and some subtlety there. We just say brother. So it's very gross, and it doesn't pick up the subtleties. So I remember one time when I went to my house, and I tried to put the subtleties into the English language, just to see. So if I went to my old friend, he's like older than me, and I would say, how is my oldest respected brother doing? And he was like, it like melted his heart, Or if you went to a younger friend, brother, you say, you are my kid brother, you are my, it's my responsibility to love you and take care of you. So I had to use a lot more words because there's not English word for them. And even in Russian and other languages, you see that there's more subtlety depending on your culture, which doesn't really translate into English language. So you're talking about fourth dimensional transcendental knowledge, which talks about the spiritual world. It's coming from Sanskrit, which is the language of the gods. It's literally Krishna's language, first language known to man. Even all the Harvard University, all big universities in the world, everybody admits Sanskrit's the oldest language. Of course, I don't know why they don't say that's part of Indian civilization and culture. That's a little strange. But Prabhupada's understanding that to take that message, which is so subtle and so pure and so transcendental, how do you put that into languages across cultures where they have no understanding of the subtleties or the nuances of the meaning of those words? So Prabhupada's admitting this is not exactly perfect because you can't match it. But anyway, Prabhupada said that this is my honest attempt. I'm trying my best to deliver this message, to convey this transcendental message in order to help to revive God consciousness and Krishna consciousness for the people in general and around the world, and somehow to try to re-spiritualize and purify the world's atmosphere. Prabhupada said, our presenting this matter is inadequate language, especially foreign language. It will certainly fail. There's not an exact translation. There'll be many literary discrepancies. And then you're trying to get other people to edit it and to put it into the book. So there's technical difficulties that are there. Even though we're so much honestly giving this attempt to present it in the most proper way possible. Prabhupada says, but we are sure that with all of these faults, with all of our faults in this connection, the seriousness of this subject matter, that seriousness of this subject matter will be taken into consideration. And the leaders of the society will still accept it. So if they can understand the honesty and the seriousness of the subject matter and consider the depth of the information which is being presented, then they will be benefited. The leaders will be benefited. And then will accept it because they understand this is an honest attempt to glorify the Almighty God. So any pious, intelligent, reasonable person will understand this is an honest attempt to somehow glorify the Almighty God for everybody's benefit. Prabhupada says, when there is a fire in your house, the inmates of the house, they run out onto the street, they go out and they start yelling to all the neighbors, please, please, help us, help us. The house is on fire. Those neighbors, they might be foreigners. They may not even speak your language. They may even be victims of the fire themselves. But the neighbors somehow can understand that there's a need, that somehow you need help. Even if it's not expressed in the same language. So they can understand in the heart of hearts, this person needs help. So the same spirit of cooperation is needed to broadcast this transcendental message of the Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the polluted atmosphere of the world. After all, it is a technical science of spiritual values, and thus we are concerned with the techniques and not with the languages. So what is the essence? What is the technique? What is the purpose? What is the motivation? That's what's most important thing, not necessarily with the languages. If the techniques, the science of this great literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, if it can somehow or other be understood by the people of the world, then certainly there will be success. Prabhupada says when there are too many materialistic activities by the people in general all over the world, so much sinful activities, materialistic activities, then there's no wonder that a person or a nation attacks another person or another nation on even the slightest provocation. So much polluted, contaminated consciousness, so much false ego, so much pride, so much arrogance, so much pettiness, so much enviousness, due to this pure sugarcane juice. And I was like, great. I love sugarcane juice. So, the first couple bottles I was drinking, I was like, and all of a sudden it started to taste like a bitter, And I was like, oh, sugarcane juice used to be so nice. What happened? And then I don't naturally want to take it. And then everyone forcing me, no, you have to drink it. I was like, oh, it doesn't taste nice, not like before. So then so many days, like all day, drinking sugarcane juice, and it tastes very bitter, right? And then one day comes, and the jaundice goes, and then you can taste the sugarcane juice. Of course, it takes a while to just get away from the sugarcane juice. Even though it's tasting all right, you're just up to here with the sugarcane juice. But if you take a month off and then you go back, then everything is nice. But it's really true that if you have that disease, it doesn't taste sweet because we're jaundice, we're in a disease condition. But still, we must understand that this is only remedy in order to get rid of this disease condition. So similarly, let there be systematic propaganda for popularizing the reading of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. Nowadays, everyone's very lazy, right? They rather watch TikTok videos and, some sound bites, right? They don't want to read. They don't want to study, really. And so they're not able to really catch it. They're not able to get the benefit of that. But anyway, if we can be fortunate enough to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, from association, sadhu, guru, Vaishnavas, then that Shrota Panta, the path of hearing, gradually, that Katha, Harikatha, Krishna-katha, Krishna Nam, that will gradually enter into the ear and gradually purify, cleansing, Cheto Dhapana Madhana. And gradually, we'll start to develop a taste when we see also the benefit that comes by that hearing process. When men have a taste, can develop a taste for this literature, then the other literatures, which are catering poison, they're poisoning the population. They can see the difference. And then gradually, automatically, it will cease. So if we have nice association, we have a nice discussion on transcendental topics related to pure devotional service, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and you see you're getting purified, you're getting free from this spiritual disease condition, and it starts to become food for the soul, and also food for your mind and your intellect, because it's just so far, expanding your consciousness and your thought process and your intellect. But your consciousness is very narrow and it's very selfish, kripana, miserly. So it's miserly, selfish, small-minded. So this type of topics, this makes you Mahatma. This makes you broad-minded, because it's even beyond the material universe. It's outside of that. It's also going to fourth dimension or transcendental spiritual world and spiritual Vaikuntha atmosphere and Vaikuntha topics. And so this is no comparison. Even other religions like that. They just talk about heaven, go back to heaven, and you say, what is heaven? Oh, anyway, it's not hell. It's not Earth planet. They have no details, no information. So it's very limited, very incomplete. Prabhupada says that somehow if they will hear this from right association, right source, they hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, we are sure that everyone in the human society will be benefited and will welcome this Srimad Bhagavatam. Even though it is now presented with so many apparent faults. What is recommended by Sri Narada, who has very kindly appeared in this chapter. Prabhupada saying that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's this description of the Kali Yuga, age of Kali. According to Vedic understanding, Satya, you've already gone a little past 5,000 years into the Kali Yuga. And it talks about, in Srimad Bhagavatam, what are the symptoms of the living entities, of the human beings in this age, that the people will have a very short duration of life. Of course, it doesn't help that the government is poisoning the water and the food and working you day and night, 80 hours a week. It doesn't seem to expand the life, duration of the life. It says at the end of the Kali Yuga, if somebody lives till they're 20 or 30 years old, they will be considered as very old men. So at the end of 432,000 years, Kali Yuga, so by the end, if you're living 20, 30 years, you're already old man in Kali Yuga. Gradually, the food grains like rice, wheat, milk, sugar, all of these things will disappear. In the age, people will be very short duration of life. They'll be manda, very slow, very dull. Already, only 5,000 years in, how dull is everybody? Right? Have no interest in these topics. Right? Modern educational system has made everybody like an ass, like an animal. Low consciousness, very, very low consciousness. No good intelligence, very lazy. Especially for this subject matter, very lazy. If you try to take them, they say, no, I'm busy. Right? Fake busy, but really lazy. They don't want to go for this. And they always are disturbed. They're always disturbed in Kali Yuga. Everybody's disturbed and they accept, they're always misguided. Less intelligence, lazy, disturbed, because they're accepting so much rubbish theology. Somebody says they're God, okay, he's God. Someone says there's no God, okay, there's no God. Right? So people are so stupid. They don't even know what are they saying, why are they saying, they're just repeating it. So they're accepting rubbish theology. Somebody comes and said, I'm Jesus. Right? I'm Bhagavan. Oh, Bhagavan, he moved into the apartment next door to us, you know, with Bhagavan. He can do some magic tricks. He can pull some gold out from behind your ear. He can tell you something from your last life. He can read your palm, tell you some astrology, right? In Bhagavan. So it says in the Kali Yuga, age of Kali, men almost always have but short lives. Before was it 100,000 years, then 10,000 years, then 1,000 years. Now we're down to 100, right? Used to be, 18 feet tall, Now we're down to, very short, really short. The cows are short, right? Everything is short, skinny, small. Brains are smaller. Brains are also smaller. Life is show anything. Uncontrolled mind and senses, unlimited desires, attachments, trying to control and hold on to whatever we're attached to. So always disturbed, always frustrated, always unlucky. Do you feel unlucky?
You feel lucky?
You feel lucky today? And above all of that, everyone will be disturbed. Then, lack of rain. Now it's too much rain. Scarcity of food grains. Then they'll just make some, synthetic stuff, put some bugs in there and some other mRNA and some other mess around with your DNA. You can turn into some other kind of species. Then here's one, overtaxed by the government. Does anyone feel overtaxed? So the people in the end of Kali Yuga will be so harassed that they'll just get up, leave their house, and just run to the forest. Just try to find the nearest forest and the hills. And then, of course, all the towns and cities will be like gundas, right? And they'll be walking up and down with guns. They'll be looking for whatever gold or food or whatever assets you have. That's coming. You want to stick around for the end of Kali Yuga? And they go to the forest and the hills in great disappointment and complete baffled and complete confusion. Like, what is happening? So those are the symptoms of Kali Yuga. Already you can see it, and gradually, it's just degrading more and more and more degradation. So it says in the 12th canto Srimad Bhagavatam that Kaliya dosha niti rajan, 12th canto, that says, my dear king, although in Kali Yuga there's so an ocean of faults in Kali Yuga, still there is one good quality about this age, that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from all material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. So these are instructions given by Shukadeva Goswami to Maharaja Parikshit. And he addressed the king that, my dear king, in this age, the faults are like an ocean. Prabhupada, in other place, everything is faulty here in material world, especially in Kali Yuga. It's an ocean of faults. But there's one ticket out. There's one great opportunity to get out of that. Although it's filled with an ocean of faulty things, there's one hope. And that hope is that if one simply chants the holy name of Krishna, then gradually he becomes purified from the contamination of this dreadful age of Kali. Just simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the vaccine. Prabhupada says. This is just like vaccine. It's Maha Mantra. It's not ordinary sound. This is spiritual sound, and simply by chanting this spiritual mantra, the spiritual sound, one becomes free. One becomes purified and free from the contamination of this age. And not only does he become free from the contamination, but he goes back home, back to the spiritual world. Prabhupada says we have no information in this age at the present time. What is that spiritual world? So all these religions are there. If you ask them what is the spiritual world, what is heaven, they can tell you nothing. We have no information in this age at the present time. What is the spiritual world? But they are all being stated in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything is there. But the people are so unfortunate, they cannot even understand the ABCs of Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad Bhagavatam as the graduate study. Everything is there, but unfortunately, it was not distributed. So the other cultures, other religions, they hide the Vedic culture and Vedic knowledge, Vedic civilization. They just cover it, hide it. They think everything happened from Aristotle and Plato. Everything happened from that point, and before that we were cavemen fighting the dinosaurs. And before that, you were just a monkey. Right? So all of this information, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, it's just, no one has it, no one had it. It's not been distributed. Therefore, our Krishna consciousness movement has started to distribute this literature, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, and we have translated about 20 books. And they are present before you. Our aim is to present to the human society 60 books. And still translation is going on. And our request to the publishers and the booksellers, please let this literature be distributed widely and properly, because the whole civilization, the people will be benefited greatly by that. People are all in illusion, they're all in the bodily concept of life. They're identifying with the nationalism. I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm Russian. They're identifying with the land that they're living on. They're worshiping their land, their country, their body, their family. But they don't understand. You've taken birth in so many of these lands, in so many of these countries, and so many of these different bodies and cultures, not just this one. But they don't know, because they're an illusion. So the whole world is going on under this misconception that I am this body. We are the body. So it says that this is the root of the spiritual disease, is that we are under this illusion on the bodily platform. We're attached to the body, bodily relations, and attached to the land, the place of our birth, and taking that to be the end-all, be-all. The be-all, end-all, whatever, right? with no proper information. So we are trying, Prabhupada says here, we are trying to do our bit, what we can. Prabhupada says almost single-handedly. And when you think when Srila Prabhupada went to America, right? Nobody had brought this literature there like this. So Prabhupada says, I'm doing this almost single-handedly. Although there's so many vast literatures, Vedic literatures of that. So many of them, filled with knowledge, filled with transcendental knowledge. These books and this knowledge can be distributed all over the world. Should be distributed all over the world. And that's Mahaprabhu's mission. That's the spiritual master's instruction. But Prabhupada said there was no organized attempt. So we just began 1966, this movement, Hare Krishna movement, Krishna consciousness movement, distributing this literature. And through this literature, of course, we are very hopeful that it will have a great effect. So you can feel Prabhupada say, I'm like single-handedly trying to take all of these literatures and organize it and distribute it all over the world. And no one has done it before, and there's no organization to do it. But Prabhupada just typed up the Bhagavad Gita, a couple of volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam, and just went to New York City in America. And Prabhupada said, if I can convince those people, at that time everyone was looking at America. Now they're looking at America in a different way. But that's another subject matter. So Prabhupada said, if I can convince them, then this will be great for other people around the world to be impressed by that even those people can become Vaishnava devotees. Prabhupada said this chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, this is one vibration, transcendental vibration. And these books, they are a bigger vibration. Brihat Madanga. So we're chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra for a few yards. Somebody can hear you chanting Hare Krishna. But my Guru Maharaj used to say that Brihat Mridanga, if you beat on the drum, maybe a few yards people can hear it. But if you make these books, transcendental books, and you distribute these books, they can go from country to country. Mahaprabhu, 6 Goswamis, all of Mahaprabhu, disciple succession, they never left India. So Srila Prabhupada did more than Mahaprabhu and 6 Goswamis and all of the Parampara, even up to Mahaprabhu's Parampara. Srila Prabhupada did more than they did. No one else did this. No one else could do that. And Prabhupada said, why I came out successful is I just followed the mission of Mahaprabhu and the instruction of my spiritual master, and I presented this information in the honest, best way possible that I could. I didn't add anything. I didn't subtract anything. I didn't compromise anything. I didn't water down anything. No concoction, no manufacturing, no changing. And because it's as it is, then it was empowered. Because I present it as it is, and it was empowered, therefore the power of Krishna is behind it, Mahaprabhu is behind it, and therefore, although there's hundreds and hundreds of translations of Bhagavad Gita around the world, not one of them made devotee of Krishna. They read, they got some philosophy, they got some esoteric, but they didn't surrender to Krishna. But our translation of Bhagavad Gita, when people read this translation, they're surrendering their lives to Krishna. That's the difference. Because the power, the potency is there within Srila Prabhupada and within his translations and within his preaching, his mission. This way it's going country to country, from continent to continent. Who spread it country to country, continent to continent? Srila Prabhupada. Other people in other countries, they picked up what Prabhupada did. So they took something from Prabhupada. They steal his disciples. They cannot do on their own. You translate the literature, you send your disciple on the street, you see how many people will join you. Nobody. Prabhupada was empowered, authorized representative of Mahaprabhu Krishna Parampara, disciple succession. That's why it's successful. That's why it's so powerful. Now it's our duty how to keep it that way. Because all this politics and the polluted consciousness even enters into the religious institution. Unfortunately, it said the institution, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said it's a necessary evil. Because institution, it breeds power politics. So if you have a message and you have the books, if you have an institution, an organization, you can spread it widely and quickly. But unfortunately, institution means opportunists will come. And they'll take advantage, international society, we can go to the West, they have money, we can get some money, we can travel, we can get some prestige. We can get some position in the temple president, zonal, this and that. You can become guru. You can get followers. You can get a lot of money. So this also breeds this type of mentality of people. And then you have, even in religious institution, you have politicians dressed like devotees who are representing political party within the institution. So then you have, Prabhupada want a decentralized organization, don't centralize it. As soon as you centralize it, power politics. And you see, when every organization, institution is looking back, where did we fail? Almost every single time they said, we centralized the power. We should have left and let everybody in their own location come up to the standard and manage their own people. And we'll support them from outside. Not that you go and take it over. So this power politics has ruined the whole thing. Because people want to be guru, this is the root of the problem. They want to be guru, so then they have their followers, and they make political parties in the temple. So now when you go in the temple, It's like you go into the Congress and you say, are you Republican or are you a Democrat? Show your papers. He said, no, let's just chant Hare Krishna, take Prasadam, read the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. No. Which party are you representing? So party politics it's more than pure devotional service. So you just had same mentality, same corrupt desires. Now you're just doing it in religious institution because people are not reading the books, they don't understand the philosophy. Then you can get a bunch of blind, foolish followers. Call them your disciples, get some money from them. Pranam, pranami, pratishta. Then try to grab some temple, some zone, some country. Try to take charge of it. Try to eliminate anyone who is a threat to your post, your position, your worship, your prestige, your bank balance. So it's going on also, even in religious institutions. Politics. And that's unfortunate. Because they're missing the whole purpose, the missionary spirit. And it becomes all degraded. And then you don't read the books, you don't know the philosophy, you don't understand the law books. You're just representing the party boss. Isn't it? Prabhupada said, I wrote these books for you. These are the law books for the next 10,000 years. If you don't read them and study them and understand them, you'll be misguided because you have no foundation. And if you say, well, Prabhupada said, don't do like this, don't do like that, they say, well, my guru said it's all right. So any guru, my guru said it's all right. Prabhupada said 52 times, don't do it, but my guru said it's all right. So does anyone have any points or questions? I thought this was very relevant in today's day and age because of what's going on. And the root of it is a spiritual disease because of the Kali Yuga and false ego. Everyone, so much hypocrisy, so much politics, so much quarreling, fighting. Everyone's under threat and fear, manipulation, exploitation. Even not much talk about revolution. But if you have a revolution and you put in another corrupt system, what's the difference? Then there'll be another revolution after that. They're all those isms are atheistic. It's all control, manipulate, and exploit the populations. If you do it smartly and don't get too greedy, then your reign can be a little longer. But because human nature and the people around you become too greedy, then they start to put laws and use the military and the police and harass the people, keep everybody under control, and then the people cannot tolerate it. And when they stand up, and when I read the Prabhupada, many places when he's talking about the revolution, in the books, Shastra, he said as soon as people don't accept the same authority there'll be a revolution. Whether it's in your house, or your temple, or your community, or your nation, or the world, when you don't agree and accept the same authority, there'll always be quarrel, there'll always be fighting, there'll always be revolution. Because nobody's satisfied. Everyone feels harassed. Everybody's disturbed. So this is the only way out of that. And it's suppressed. It says in this world, this Maya Jagat, this is the world of lies, hypocrisy, untruth. And it says if you speak truth in this world, that truth is seen as a deviation. And when you establish the truth, everybody sees it as a deviation from the norms of society. And then all the agents of untruth get together and oppose you. This is the world of untruth. You try to establish truth here, this is very difficult. Then Prabhupada, he's not compromising, he's not watering it down, he's not politically correct, he's not trying to appease and satisfy the masses of the people. He's saying your system has failed. You're suffering and your people are suffering. You're all disturbed, you're all fighting. It's one catastrophe after another. There's only solution for yourself personally, for your family, for your community, your nation, the world. This is the only solution. But who will hear it? Who will accept it? Who will take it seriously? People think, oh, this is not practical. Give us something practical. Okay, so you get the same man with polluted consciousness, with demoniac qualities, materialistic desires. What else are they going to think of? What will their system be? What will their new scheme be? Put some nice marketing on it. Put some nice flowery language. It's very funny for us, like when we come to India, and you see they're trying to make like an English, like a sign or propaganda, right? And then they're trying to use some catchy slogan, right? And so maybe from an Indian point of view, like that's kind of, whoa, that's cool, you know? That sounds interesting. We don't know what it means, but it sounds really cool, you know? But from like an English point of view, it's kind of ridiculous. It's like, who will fall for that, you know? Well, they won't see through that? What a scam. They think it's very clever, very catchy. Right? And, you know, it's ridiculous. But the people don't know. They're also blindly running after materialism, isn't it? We already made that mistake. We already know it doesn't work. You guys are like hopeful that it will work. Because you're Indian, you're smart, right? You can make it work. But you can also overthink it and over tweak it and over exploit it by your clever corruption. You can do more damage, isn't it? That's why people who have very good intelligence, they're the most dangerous people. If they're corrupt. Because they know how to cheat better than everybody else. and you won't even know you're getting cheated. Right? They give you a massage.
Pick your pocket.
They'll glorify you. They give you a whole sequel like nice, you're so nice, we love you. But we're gonna do everything we can to destroy you, you know. Indian politics, right? Sounds very nice. At least in the West, they're like, look, I hate you, you hate me. This is a competition. Someone's gonna win and someone's gonna lose, right? It's like very clear. It's almost more honorable. Because it's just straightforward and honest, isn't it? This other thing is like slimy, greasy. You know what I mean? Not straightforward. Someone had a question, I think. Yeah. You're next.
Srila Prabhupada expressed his desire to preach to the leaders of society. So how it's possible, first of all, to reach them, and because of their position, how is it possible to accept this Krishna consciousness?
I remember one time, Srila Govinda Swami, somebody asked Govinda Maharaj, you know, with all such a great civilization and philosophy and the culture and the knowledge in India, why the Indian people are not interested? We're coming over here because we're really interested. Even we don't know anything, but we're attracted to it. So we're asking our spiritual master, why the Indian people? Why they're not so serious? And he said, right now, they're enamored by technology. And they think this technology will be everything, that it will solve everything. And because they're good with that technology, they're putting everything into that. He said, but when there's World War III, and everything is destroyed because of this technology, and their Indians are riding in the bullock carts again. And while they're riding in the bullock cart, after everything is destroyed, after nuclear war, then they'll be talking to each other, this is what our technology did. This is what the end result of all of this technology brought onto us and the world. And they'll become so serious about spiritual life, they'll be more serious than anybody else. So when the most is expected of you, and you don't handle that, then the punishment is more heavy. Because you're supposed to know better. You have a solution which is meant to save the world. And instead, you're becoming kripana, selfish, foolish, just like the rest of them. So your punishment will be more heavy. And we were shocked hearing that answer, because you can't think it up. Like, after all of the advancement of modern civilization, they're going to be riding on bullock carts again? So it's hard to fathom. But if you have demoniac people with big false egos who are easily triggered by the slightest provocation, and they have the most dangerous weapons known to man. They don't care for life. They don't value human life. That's why they're manipulating, exploiting, killing, poisoning the food, poisoning the water, poisoning the children in the school with all of this rubbish information, isn't it? So you're killers of yourself and your people. So such people, can they be responsible with AI and controlling people's DNA and with such precision weapon systems which will be released by people's minds? So how's that going to end well? How do you use all of that technology? How do you balance that technology and the goals of that technology with pure devotional service to Krishna? How can that be engaged? It's basically a war for everybody's body, mind, and souls. So who will win that battle? It says that in previous ages, the battlefield of Krishna-katha, or Germany, or Russia, or America, that was the battlefield, right? Yeah. The battlefield now is the mind. Everybody's mind is the battlefield. So it's a full-on informational warfare to control people's minds. Mind control. Because if you can control everybody's mind, then you can manipulate them, persuade them, manipulate them, control them, exploit them materially. If Krishna's devotees are canvassing on behalf of Krishna, if that can persuade you and purify your mind and your intelligence, then you can also become Krishnaized. So this informational warfare is going on from spiritual side as well as from the material side. And we're in the world, in the Kali Yuga, where it's almost godless civilizations. So you have majority of control of the media and social media and educational system, political system. Everything is anti-God. And then those people are going to control algorithms and weapon systems and financial systems and artificial intelligence and World Health Organization. They're going to take control of your body, your health, and your family. And we're all just sitting around like this, like, yeah, it's all going to end up really nice. Because we're just supposed to trust everybody? Because there are authorities? Of course our authorities care about us. Of course they're looking out for us. They're protecting us. They're keeping us safe. So how does that end well? Now you see why this is only solution. Because it's either this or that. It can't be both. It's a heaven and hell difference. Who's going to control the mind and your DNA? It says now, protect your mind, your emotions, and your DNA. Literally. Everywhere you go. Now, okay, now we know your fingerprints, now we know your eyes, right? So they're getting all of your blood, all of your biometrics, all control of all your data, everything you say, everything you write, everything you read, everything you buy, every political statement you make. They're just capturing all of it. So is that for our well-being? Is that to make our life more simple and more pure and more righteous? And most people are completely brainwashed. No one said anything different than what they heard from the beginning of their life through the school system, educational system, corporate system. This corporate system, who's funding all of this demoniac technology and agendas and policies? The corporations. Those corporations have more money, power, and control than countries. So when you're talking about Microsoft or, Twitter and what are these other ones? Facebook, right? The size of the money that they have and the control that they have of the populations, this is much bigger than in countries and states. And then they're just moving around, so they're not really responsible anywhere. And then everyone's getting some pay, and then everyone's like, yes, I'm serving the master. Yes. Right? That's what they did when India took over, when England took over, right? We're serving the master. They're paying us off. They're giving us some prestige, some post, some house, some money, right? And you sell your soul. What are the policy and agendas of these corporations? I just need a job, man. I just need some money. I don't even care what they're doing. So this is not going to end well. And when this hits, most of the world is going to be in a shock. Because nobody can imagine that this can be like this. And if you look at any war, any world wars, they all said the same thing after. We could never imagine that such small provocations out of the arrogance and the pride and the lust and greed of just a few men can create such catastrophic millions and millions of people dead. Countries, worlds, cities, everything bombed. And still we don't learn. No, this time we're going to do it differently. Same mentality, same policies, same agenda. What changes? What changed? What's going to change? They're going to get more power, more money, more control to these organizations, corporations, governments, banking, cabal. And you have to get permission from them to go in the grocery store. You have to show your ID. You have to show your certificates of your vaccination in order to get on the train, in order to get on the bus. Now you go to the bank, you try to take out $1,000. They say, where are you spending this money? Imagine you go to the bank and then you're trying to, fix something or buy a car or something, right? And these people, just no person, you have no idea who is this person. They're challenging you. Why are you taking this money out of our bank?
Yes.
We don't even know the half of it, really, to be really honest. And that's the way they wanted it. Keep everybody dull, stupid, uninformed, unintelligent, uneducated, powerless, so they can control you. How's that going to end well? Am I answering your question? What's your question?
Maharaj, I surrender to your lotus feet. How I landed up on 17th of September in Mayapur, that is something supernatural. Because I might have
Talk into the mic so everybody.
how I am surviving, that also is a mystery.
When did it come?
17th of September.
17th of September, I came to Mayapur
Yeah.
at 8:45 came in Uttar Vrindavan, in front of Uttar Vrindavan.
In the local apartment block, he came.
Wow, that's very detailed.
He's chief engineer on big boats, so he's very.
Oh, you're very precise.
Only by
What
Krishna's
degree?
grace I am surviving.
Huh?
Only by Krishna's grace I am surviving every time. And
He says, by Krishna's grace, I'm surviving.
And
Do you want to just survive or do you want to thrive?
And what should I say? What is in future for me? You only can give me.
I'm telling you the future. I'm telling you the future for all of us. So now when all of this happens, where are we going to be living? What are we going to be doing? Hopefully chanting Hare Krishna, living with devotees, taking prasadam.
Do you think chanting Hare Krishna is the only solution?
Absolutely. 100%. If Krishna wants to protect you, who can kill you? And if Krishna doesn't protect you, who's going to save you?
I live behind Calcutta, an apartment, a 2,600 square feet apartment.
Apartment?
He lives in. He has an apartment in Calcutta.
Income. And there's a family there living. I have one wife, one daughter, one son. Son is in UK, and daughter is married. She got married in 2022. And
So, what's the plan?
now you tell me.
Now you tell me.
What to do? Which path to
I
do?
got the coordinates. I got the coordinates of the placement of all the living entities. So we have that physical map.
I am 61 years old. Left his family at the age of 59 and became a mendicant. He lived in Vrindavan for 10 years. And before he went to USA at the age of 69, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada left his family
Yeah.
at the age of 59 and went to Vrindavan and became a mendicant. And he lived a life of sannyasi.
Are you ready to leave your family?
But I don't know whether I can pursue a life of sannyasi also, because
Don't worry about sannyas. Just worry about, can you surrender to Krishna?
yes,
Can you completely surrender to Krishna?
yes.
Then ask Krishna, what do you want me to do? And if you're sincere, Krishna will tell you. If you really want to surrender to Krishna, and you just need to know how to do it, Krishna will help you. So the sincerity, seriousness to surrender to Krishna, that's the problem. The problem is not from Krishna's side. Krishna very quickly can tell you. But we don't really want to hear it. We're not prepared to hear it because of fear, because of attachment. You
Can I
see?
get initiated to
Huh?
Vaishnava?
Yeah, you become like Arjuna. You just surrender to Krishna. And you say, Krishna, I'm yours. I cannot handle it materially. I don't know what to do, what not to do. I don't know what's best for me. So I just surrender to you. You please accept me. Make me your das. Now just please help me, instruct me what to do, how to do. That's what you have to do. That's the first step.
I have a long history of my life, which I cannot narrate to in the presence of everybody. Something
He says he has a long history of his life, which he can't share in front of everybody.
How many lives have you had? Who cares about one life? Can you tell about your last life?
cannot,
Or that life before that one?
no, I cannot.
So you're very limited. You're just talking about this life.
Right. I was born on 9th May 1964. And
Is this
now
going
I'm
to be like a
61 years old.
novel?
A biography.
He got the microphone. Now he's going to give us a biography, autobiography. What was the moon when you were born?
I don't know.
He
I'm not
doesn't
an
have all the
astrologer.
data.
I'm not an astrologer.
Huh?
Although I took a book of astrology from Ishkan. And tried to go through last year.
We're just like promoting Srimad Bhagavatam, you know? It's like,
I have a
finally,
good
I got
collection of
an
books in
astrology book
my,
from ISKCON.
I have a good collection of books in my flat in Jonathan Niwas. But
There's a lot of books.
lot of books, Prabhupada books, all Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita.
That's why Prabhupada brought you here.
I agree to it. I agree to it. That it's by Prabhupada's mercy that I'm still surviving. There have been so many ups and downs in my
It
life.
doesn't matter survival. It matters whether you surrender to Krishna or not. Ups and downs is welcome to the material world. That's not a big deal.
There are so much enemies in my life, enemies waiting for me in Kolkata, that I have to run away from Kolkata.
He says he has so many enemies in his life and they're waiting for him in Calcutta.
He's hiding out there.
Yeah.
Better you surrender to Krishna.
I agree.
It sounds dangerous. If you can't go back to your own house, chances are you're not doing something properly.
If I step into that house,
That's why you can't tell the whole story, you know?
and there has been numerous times, at least 5 times I've been put into a mental hospital. It's like a prison, close to my place.
From your family?
Yeah, from my family themselves called the doctor and put me in mental hospital.
The
They have
family put you
started
in the
the injection.
prison, in the hospital?
Yeah.
His own family?
Yeah, mental hospital.
And you want to know if you should stay with that family?
That's like to survive. I just ran away from them. And
To survive, he ran away.
And they took all your money, right?
with my wife, I don't have any physical relation for the last 15 years. And she's looting.
Maybe that's why she threw you in the mental hospital. She got so fed up, he's ignoring her for 15 years, you know?
Not that is.
She just called the police. Just get this guy, throw him in the mental institution. He's useless.
He's not having medicine. So I put it in winter first.
Huh?
The doctor will come and he will say, you have to have medicine, you have to have injection. Every day you'll be pushing injection behind.
Your material life,
And at least
your material life,
Huh?
from my humble opinion,
Yeah.
your material life is over.
And then
It's
to survive, I have to
over.
tell them that I have to go to ship now again to earn money.
Do what?
He has to go on the ship as an engineer to earn money.
What ship?
Like some big
Maritime.
big
Maritime?
ship, big shipping.
That's it.
Are you delivering drugs or what? What are you doing? What are you shipping?
Shipping, actually, I am a marine engineering.
What's the cargo? What's the cargo?
Have you heard about marine engineering college in Kolkata? P19 Taratala Road.
What is your
What's the
cargo? What is
cargo
your
on the boat?
cargo?
The cargo.
It is oil chemical tank.
Oil chemicals.
tanker.
Oil chemical tankers.
Oil chemical tankers. From Russia?
It's a Dubai-based company.
Dubai based.
Oh yeah, right. You just changed the flag. I know.
Although it is manned by Indians from
Of course.
Mumbai.
It all makes
And
perfect
all
sense.
kinds of people who have to tackle. You understand? On the ship, they put a second engineer who is who wants to be from ship. The
So now you gotta save me, man.
So on the same thing, like do it then.
He came. He's telling more details, but I just wanted to say,
So what?
Debashis, he came for Harinam today and
Yeah.
went to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he came back with us to Prasadam at Seva Ashram. So we tried to invite him today to come and hear
So
class.
you have to go on the ship again?
No, I don't feel I have to go again because I have enough to survive for at least a year now.
So just your material life is over. You're living in the Dham. Just be devoted.
Right.
Just surrender to Krishna, Mahaprabhu, and step by step, they'll help you how to do what to do. Just make up your mind not to go backwards. Just go forward spiritually. And just surrender to Krishna and say, I want to be your das, your shishya. Please instruct me. And then Krishna, he's a witness and he is the judge. So he'll see how serious are we. I'm not your judge. Krishna is the judge, he's the witness. You be convinced enough to convince Krishna. If you're convinced enough to convince Krishna, Krishna will definitely help you. One step at a time. That's the work you have to figure out. How sincere, how serious are you? Be convinced and try to convince Krishna. Okay? This is the main thing. Because if you are sincere and serious, I think you are, then Krishna will help you one step at a time. He'll guide you. But you have to have faith in Krishna, that he can do it. Krishna can do and undo.
I understand everything.
You understand everything?
Although I'm 61 years old, and
Are we back to the biography again?
He wants to come to Assam with our devotees.
You want to come with us to Assam?
like sir,
Okay.
like Maharaj.
Right now, we're not going right now. He's looking to escape, man. Who's after this guy, you know?
It's just the family tortured.
I hope nobody's following you like to Assam or anything like that.
I really look forward to go to Assam.
He's looking forward to going with the
Okay,
Buddhists.
then you come. One step at a time, you come.
Hari
All
Bol.
right?
Hari Bol.
You feel better?
I think we can.
All right. Very good.
But
You're sitting in the front. I told you to move up in the front, right? So you had question, you had a doubt, everything clear now. So just follow what I'm
can you
telling
give me
you.
any answer?
Huh?
Last 15 years, I'm deprived of my physical relationship with any woman.
With
Do
what?
you understand?
What's your question?
What is the solution for it? Last 15 years, I'm deprived of any physical relationship.
He's deprived of any physical contact with any women last 15 years.
Yeah, great. That means you're done materially. So better become happy spiritually. Because the material thing is not working for you. Right? So make it spiritual happiness. You're too old to get married again. You got no more hair. Right? So that's a past life. So now just live a spiritual life. All right? Forget about women. You're too old. All right? Just become Krishna conscious. Then you'll be peaceful and happy. All right? All right. Everybody else? Anybody? Mataji, our eager Mataji is there. She's the eager Mataji. Very enthusiastic. All right. We got the translating Shiksha Guru. Nobody wanted her before, now everybody wants her, you know? Now she feels love and everybody wants me, so now she's also feeling good. Don't worry.
No, Maharaja.
Don't relax. Material life is over. Spiritual life is beginning. It's all positive, auspicious. As much as possible. If we're not fully engaged and we're just sitting with stupid mind, oh, this, that. So I don't mind devil's workshop. You need to stay busy, intelligent, senses, fully engaged. And based around hearing and chanting, associating with Krishna's devotees, helping in the preaching mission, Mahaprabhu's preaching mission, trying to help other devotees, serve other devotees, learn how to serve and help other souls, other devotees. That will help you a lot. All right? Anybody else? Yeah?
Recently, in our preaching center in Kathmandu, because we are living in a locality where there are a lot of families and like children. So
Children.
yes, so they are coming to our programs like Harinam and like classes and chanting and the Bhagavad Gita. So some families they're already coming and complaining like our children not wanting to go to school and appear for the exams, and like already 3-4 families have came, and so it's like we are expecting that will happen more.
You just said, look, we're just giving a spiritual solution, a spiritual way of life, a spiritual solution according to prescription of Guru Sadhu and Shastra. And this is best for every soul and for every family and for the community. And so that's all we're sharing. And then how that is influencing people, then Krishna will guide them. You know, if they want to surrender and serve Krishna, then Krishna will give them intelligence and faith, understanding how to do that. That's what we're responsible for. You know, you can't control and legislate people's faith. But neither are we going in their family and telling them what they're supposed to do with their children. We're just emphasizing we want to help you and your family spiritually by giving you bona fide authorized spiritual understanding and process. That's meant to help you, to benefit you. How any individual or how the family, can take or digest or deal with that information, that's really your lookout. That's not our responsibility. We're just playing our part. A lot of the family, they cannot be so spiritual, so we're helping the children spiritually. You should be doing. But because you're not doing, so anyway, we're handling your responsibility spiritually. If they're a little intelligent, then you can say, because we're helping them spiritually, they're getting faith and trusting us. So we cannot control that. If you become Krishna conscious and you develop nice consciousness and you're following religious principles, they'll have faith and trust in you. Then this wouldn't be happening. So how they're having faith and trust in us and we're not even really their family, because we're giving them their soul, spiritual shelter and protection and inspiration. So you do the same thing for them. You influence them as much as we're influencing them. So we're just doing our part to help everybody spiritually. What any individual does, or how that family deals with that information and Krishna's arrangement to bring that information and that process into your family, that's your lookout. That's not our responsibility. Put it right back on them. Otherwise, they're blaming us like we're controlling them, but then they're telling us, can you control them in the way that we want them to do? Right? So they're trusting you, listening to you, they have faith, trust in you, but you should tell them what we want them to do. Just say, look, we're just giving them spiritual opportunity, information, authorized spiritual process of devotional service, Sanatana Dhamma, Bhakti. That's all we're offering them. And they're developing faith and trust because they like that subject matter. So if you accept that yourself, then they'll have faith and trust in you, and then there'll be no conflict within your family. Because otherwise we're not going to go in and start micromanaging everybody's household, right? And that'll be a big scandal. And then the children, it's like a nice competition, right? Why might children have more faith and trust in you spiritually than in us? You should ask yourself that question. So if you come up to more speed in your own spiritual life, then they'll have faith and trust in you. They'll respect you more. Then you don't have a problem controlling them. Does that make sense at all? Yeah. We're just doing our part. How anyone takes that, or does it, or how they manage that personally or collectively, that's not up to us. That's not our lookout. We're just giving them the spiritual side of it. If you cooperate with us spiritually, because it's good for you also, then we will have a much more harmony amongst us. If you don't choose to do like that, then that's not our lookout then. We cannot really control that situation. You like that answer? Yeah? Does it make sense? Because we can't micromanage it. Yes. Yes. Who is that young man back there? Where's he from? There he is?
My name is Das. I'm the subject of Maharaj.
Ah, Narendra Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Yesterday he met our devotees and devotees invited him for the program.
Oh. Welcome. We're happy to have you. Do you have some question or point you'd like to bring up?
So Srimad Bhagavatam is given 9 processes of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and then Srila Prabhupada also set up 7 goals of ISKCON, like systematically to propagate Krishna consciousness. Like how is it connected? These 9 methods of devotional service and goals, like these 7 goals of ISKCON.
Well, the point of the 9 full processes of bhakti is to become surrendered servant of Krishna. And so first, the Shravanam, the hearing, means, Prabhupada says, the first most important aspect of devotional life is Shravanam. Without proper Shravanam, we cannot purify our consciousness. We cannot fully realize that we're eternal servant of Krishna. We cannot have sufficient faith in chanting His holy name. Faith comes from Shravanam. If you hear from those who have faith, then you can develop that faith. When you have developed faith, then you can properly remember Krishna, and worship Krishna. You can do all the other 9 full processes of bhakti. But without sufficient proper Shravanam, hearing, we cannot even purify our consciousness. And without purified consciousness, we cannot develop faith. And without faith, we cannot do the other 9 full processes of bhakti. So the first most important part of devotional service is hearing and then chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Prabhupada's whole program and his prescription from the morning to the night is Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Is just constantly hearing and chanting about Krishna for our own purification and development of faith, and also then to also help other living entities as part of this preaching movement. So first we have to help ourselves, otherwise we'll not really be able to help other people. So it's a preaching movement, but we have to apply the treatment program. Prabhupada says this, the hearing and chanting about Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, that's a medicine. And Jagannath Krishna Prasadam, that's the diet. So if we properly, sufficiently hear in the right association with like-minded devotees and take Krishna Prasadam, this Prabhupada said this is expert treatment program to purge the mad mind. So first we have to try to help ourselves and understand how the process works on ourselves. And then as we're getting faith and we're getting more and more success and realization, then we can share that with other living entities, because we're part of a preaching movement, a selfless movement, that we're not just trying to help ourselves, we're also trying to help ourselves enough to then be able to help other people. So I think this is the essence of Prabhupada's mission by following this ninefold processes of bhakti, Navada Bhakti, for Shravanam especially, first most important aspect of devotional service. Prabhupada says if you don't do that Shravanam properly, means hearing in the right association, a bona fide authorized devotee, then you cannot do any of the other ninefold processes of bhakti. So we have to learn how to purify and fix our consciousness and remember that we're eternal servant of Guru and Krishna. And then in that consciousness, then we can do other services with the right motivation that we're eternal servants of Krishna and we're doing those services as active devotional service to the Lord. But without the Shravanam, there's no purification, there's no destroying of misconception or misunderstanding, there's no way to get off of the bodily false ego platform, and then without coming off of that platform, at least theoretically to begin with, but it has to be also practically realized in order to be able to do these other ninefold processes of bhakti, not in a theoretical or sentimental way, but in a genuinely faithful and serious way. I hope that helps you. Is that close to what you were looking to hear? Is there anything else additional beyond that he likes to talk about on that topic? Anything he likes?
Yeah, he was trying to understand what is most important, and Shravanam is first and most important.
Yeah. If we didn't hear Srila Prabhupada's chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if we didn't hear Srila Prabhupada explain to us that we are eternal servants of Krishna, and that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, that he's a Bhagavan, if we didn't hear that from Srila Prabhupada and from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, then if we didn't hear that, we wouldn't have sufficient qualification for faith to be able to chant with faith. If you just say just chanting, yeah, but if you don't have faith and you don't have pure consciousness, and you don't have faith in Krishna or faith in Krishna's holy name, then you're just chanting with no faith. This nama parad. So that type of chanting where you don't have faith and you have too many doubts and too much misconception, it'll be very difficult to chant properly. So first most important thing is Shravanam. That's why it's first, and it's most important. And even when you're chanting, you're also hearing. And even when you're doing the other services, then you're also chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Mother Jashoda, she's turning the Buddha, right? She's chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So whatever service you're doing, you're thinking, oh, this is for Krishna, this is for Gopal. And then you're chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this hearing and chanting is always there, regardless of what other specific service you're doing in the ninefold processes of bhakti. It's always constantly there. It's the means and it's the goal. It's a means of purification, development of faith, but it's also the goal because that pure chanting is a Krishna prema. And those premi bhaktas, while they're serving Krishna, Gopal, they're also chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But they're doing out of love, not to try to purify their consciousness. So when you're doing it out of the means of developing purified consciousness and faith, that's a different type of chanting than chanting Shuddhanam, Premanam, where you're doing it with full faith and out of loving devotion, bhakti, prema. I hope that helps you. Hare Krishna. Who is your friend, Pitamba? Who is that?
This is uncle and cousin.
That's uncle? Uncle and cousin? Oh.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good.
I hope you like our discussion.
Yes, I just want to share that I stay in Chennai actually. Chennai, down south in India.
Chennai.
Yeah. I do visit the temple there. But
This
I'm
is
still
a
a new.
Bala.
He visits the temple.
He visits the temple here.
ISKCON.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chennai.
Oh, Chennai.
Swami Maharaja is the head of the
Yeah. Who's it? Tirupati?
Tirupati is Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah.
South,
that's that one,
south,
yeah.
but very near to Chennai.
Yeah.
I do hear Bhagavad Gita and I really like it.
So what was your experience in Chennai? Did you have a nice experience?
Very nice experience.
Yeah. What was the essence of your realization there?
Initially, like when our spiritual he was asking, okay, you chant Hare Krishna, right? Start chanting at least one round. I'm talking about last year.
Oh.
Just chant one round.
Wow.
You're eating 3 times a day. Why can't you chant at least 3 times, at least one round? We started with that.
Oh.
And I started that process. I was attending Bhagavad Gita classes. Every Sunday I go for Bhagavad Gita classes there in the temple. So I associate with devotees. The experience was really sublime. Really, really great. Can't have that kind of realization. And without having that realization, we cannot say, right, what is that spiritual realization? Because we hear many times from outside, preach Krishna. My cousin brother, right, he is into Krishna consciousness for, I don't know, more than 20 years, I believe. Right? So I did not understand. He told me, he gave me the Bhagavad Gita book many, many years back. But I read it and I did not understand it.
Did you think he was crazy?
No. I always had some spiritual hankering to understand something beyond what we are doing in a daily life. But I never got a process what to follow. When I got married, I had a kid. Right,
Oh, that was the delay. That was the delay.
So
You got a little distracted.
I got a little distracted. But now prepare, right? I'm chanting 16 rounds. Daily.
Nice.
Last 2-3 months, I'm chanting 16
Nice.
rounds. I hope that I'm able to continue. The experience is really, really good. And so I called him and said, I want to come to Mayapur. I came to Mayapur way back when I was in standard, fifth standard. I was a kid. I came that time. The parents was telling him welcome. Because Didi Krishna is calling now. He did not call me for so many years.
No, he was calling all the time.
I got this.
But you were on another line.
I see that difference. I personally see that difference. It makes us calm, first of all, makes the mind calm. And when you hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, you start realizing that the philosophy, right? Viewpoint in which you should see life, that is very, very different from the material perspective.
So because you associate with Krishna's devotees, then you heard all of this thing when you were ready,
Yes.
and then you started to try yourself, and then you got your own experience. Now you have your own faith, your own experience, and now you're chanting as well. And nobody's even stopping you, telling you only one round. Now you're doing automatically. You're automatically increasing. And that's why you're happy. Yeah, I can see you're a happy person. That means you must be chanting properly. I hope you keep your simplicity and avoid asatsanga and temple politics. Just stay out of it, and then you can remain simple and happy. That would be nice. You stay in Chennai now?
I stay in Chennai.
You stay there. Okay. Will he come to Assam? No?
I'll go back again next week to Chennai.
You escaped Assam a long time ago. We'll go back there. Don't worry. We'll tell you how it went.
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it. I thought you guys looked like some kind of relatives or something, you know? Very similar smile. His smile's a little better than your smiles are. I think he's more simply chanting. You're a little harassed, a little burden trying to cook for everybody. People demanding more potatoes. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Any last thing, Mataji? Not too much. Be patient. I already answered your question. Mataji getting a little carried away, right? Yeah.
Sridham, you're mentioning, Srila Prabhupada was mentioning that we have to spread this teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. So,
Especially the Indians.
yes.
We're just doing it now because you guys need to figure out technology is not everything, you know? Once we see you riding on the bullock carts, then we'll hand everything over to you. So,
I believe before it was like one single book of Srimad Bhagavatam could be distributed, but now they made it like a whole set and it's like so expensive. So, like people sometimes they want to read, they're asking, and then there's a condition that you have to buy the whole thing, and it's like so difficult. Then not mostly people can.
just buy the sets, right, and just sell them one at a time. When we used to do book distribution, we would travel from different temples, and they would have the book room. They would have like all kinds of like different books. You just grab any books that are there. Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, big books, Bhagavad Gita, anything. I remember I remember handing out like Antya Leela Chaitanya Charitamrita, you know? And I'm laughing, I'm saying, can you imagine like you're like, first time approaching, Krishna consciousness, and someone gives you like Antya Lila from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Can you imagine opening the book and what are they supposed to think about that? Yeah? But it's non-different from Mahaprabhu. So whether they understand it or not, it doesn't even really matter. Because if they read that and they like it and they become purified and they somehow they get some kind of like, oh, this is some powerful spiritual book, they're already like appreciating it. So it's better if you have, give the small books and some preliminary books, Ishipanishad or Bhagavad Gita, to new people. That's better. But in those cases, they had all of these books. So we were just like, we'll just distribute anything, everything. It's all Prabhupada's books and teachings, right? So we would just, if you bought a whole set, you just second canto, first canto, fifth canto, sixth canto. Especially if they're not going to buy the whole set, right? But if you want the big books, better get like Bhagavad Gita, because that gives you like the whole essence of the teaching. So if you have Bhagavad Gita and then you have Science of Self-Realization, and that's a very powerful book. And you have Nectar of Instruction, or you have, what else is there? Bhagavad Gita, small books, Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction. These 6 books. If you have a choice, better give them the Bhagavad Gita, because that's the essence. Like everything is there. But if you just have, that's all you have for books, then we just distribute them anyway. And then they'll get mercy from those books. Can you imagine, right? You're in a lot of times they take the book and they put it in their bookshelf in their house, right? Say they read it a little bit, then they put it in the bookshelf. So then they have Chaitanya Charitamrita in their house, like a deity, right? It's like non-different from Mahaprabhu, like in the bookshelf. And they don't even realize it. There's so many stories where somebody, they just took the book, put it in the bookshelf, and then they went through their life, and they went through different struggles in their life, and then they're praying to God, and then all of a sudden, they go to their bookshelf, and then they find that book. Sometimes it's like years later when they're actually ready to read that book. You don't know. So, if you have a choice, it's better to give them new people, I remember one time we would go out in the airport in Philadelphia, and devotees were wearing like regular clothes with the hat, right? And I said, and people kept coming up to me, "You're Hare Krishna devotee. Why do you dress like Hare Krishna? Like everybody knows you're Hare Krishna. You guys have been distributing books here for 20 years. What are you afraid to be a Hare Krishna?" Right? And they're like, this one day, like they were like all these people kept coming up saying, "Why don't you just put on the dress? You're Hare Krishna. Everybody knows you're Hare Krishna. Why are you dressing in regular clothes?" So I said, okay, tomorrow I'm coming to the airport. I was Ramachari. I'm going to wear saffron and I got boxes of Krishna books. So I came out as brahmachari, shaved head, tilak, and I had big boxes, many boxes of Krishna books. And I just was just pumping out Krishna books. I remember one person, they opened up the book, you know, and they said, "Oh, the little blue man." And I was like, you know that little blue man? He said, "Yes. My grandmother used to read this to me every night before I would go to sleep." And like, Krishna just sent these people. And then that day, we used to have a competition. And then one Maharaj, whoever won that day, distributed the most, he'd get some prize or something, some cake or something. Maybe that's why I was motivated. You know? And then I remember that day, you know, I distributed more books than anybody else on our team. Krishna books. And I distributed more books than everybody else. And the Maharaj came and gave me some cake or something. And it was like a big, you know, like, okay, he won today, so he gets something. I'm not saying that to glorify myself. I'm just saying that, you know, Krishna can send like anybody there. You know, I had friends coming up to me. I'm just giving them Bhagavad Gitas, Anjalila, Madhyalila, whatever books we had. Because when we would go in the bookstore in these different temples, they had books for so many years just packed in there. And they were like, you know, we could just distribute any books you want. It was great. We just grabbed everything. And then I was always trying to find particular Bhagavatam because I had this old set. So I would always go through their books and find like, you know, the ones that I was missing out of my set. And I was just trying to like fill it with the original Bhagavatam. So I would just say, oh, okay, I'll take that one. And other ones are just distributed. I mean, when we read Bhagavad Gita and it's talking about, you know, all the names, you know, we don't know how to say all of these names. You know, all the Kurukshetra, and we just don't know even what any of it even means. Brahman, and so just keep reading. You know, some truth comes out. Then it's done later on. You know, later on you can figure out how to pronounce the names. You know, just get the essence of the teaching. You know, let Krishna convince you. Other thing, later you can figure it out. Don't get hung up on all of that. Try to catch the essence. Prabhupada was talking about this. Does that help? We used to like be really fired up about big books. You can hand out small books, but if you give them a big book, it's impressive. And we'll get bigger donations also. So that's the way we did it. Bigger the better. But if you have choice, then, you know, time, place, circumstance, candidate, that's helpful. Anybody else? How are you going?
I want to, because this topic about
Book distribution?
yes, distribution, like really inspired right now. I just want to share one little episode from my life.
One result?
One little episode. What happened in my life? How I became actually how I came in contact with Krishna.
Yeah, yeah.
And just I was living in one actually very small city in Italy, and never heard about Krishna. And with three my schoolmates, we just were entering into one cafe, and there was one library, many books, and just all together three. We just saw one book was just coming out from all this library, and we just took out. We opened this book, and actually was ninth canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam.
Ninth canto.
Yes, we were not didn't know anything, but we just started to see the picture. We were just seeing this picture, and we were completely amazed by this picture. But also Prabhupada said windows on the physical world.
Yeah.
We were amazing looking. This picture was so inspiring, and all three of us now we're all devotees in different parts of the
Where's
world.
that book? That's a powerful book, you know?
Yes.
3 for 3.
So this is this episode convinced me how really powerful these books are.
Yeah.
Even if you're not understand, really, I didn't know anything. I just see this picture, this book.
Exactly.
It's still in my, actually, this book is in my house.
Ah,
I kept
Nice.
only for me.
I get to hold that book.
But recently, when I just asked my father to
Hold that book.
Read that book.
And now he's coming to Mayapur.
Yeah.
I just asked my father because he was going to some reason to buy some Hare Krishna from Italy. Asked to take one Krishna book to bring for my mother in Italian language. So
Krishna book.
yes,
Yeah.
Krishna. And he went there, and basically I understood that now in Italy they stopped to print all Prabhupada books. They are not printing any small books, and this Krishna book right now they are printing as bedtime stories. This is the name of the book, bedtime stories. And if you look around, there is no mention about Krishna,
Wow.
no name of Krishna around. And this is just some story from India, like this.
This is not going to last like that. This is just like a bad dream, just temporary. Everyone gonna wake up after a while. This cannot stand like this. So it will change, has to change. I remember when we distributed the books, we were in a van and we're traveling around America. And we're going to different campgrounds and schools and different places. And on the van, on the top was like a piece of wood. And underneath was all the books. And so at nighttime, we had nowhere to sleep. So we had to sleep on top of the wood, and all the books were underneath the platform. And we used to say, we're so fortunate, we're being protected by these books. Because it's all Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, everything. It's maybe it's not ideal, but Krishna knows they have nowhere else to sleep. So, I'll just give them some protection on the books. And I remember that when first time I got the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita was special because Krishna himself convinced me that he's God. So that was very important, powerful first reading of Bhagavad Gita. Because my only question was, who is God? And I was asking everyone, going everywhere, going to the church, asking. No one could answer my question. So I like Gandhi. And Gandhi was reading Bhagavad Gita. So I said, okay, I'll get Bhagavad Gita. When I got Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, then as soon as I read that book, within a very short period of time, immediately Krishna convinced me that here is God. You're asking, who am I? This is who I am. That was so much. And then immediately, whatever it said to do in Bhagavad Gita, immediately I started going around my house and throwing everything in the trash. First time reading Bhagavad Gita. Immediately, once Krishna showed me, then you have to follow the instruction. But what really impacted me was first time I got Srimad Bhagavatam. Because when I got the first canto of the Bhagavatam, I was just like another book, I just stopped reading it. And when I was reading that Bhagavatam, I was like, I felt like I was so thirsty, like so like in the desert, like for so long. And here is this book, which is just like quenching my thirst and basically like my whole life, I'm waiting for that book. And I could not put it down because I didn't want to lose that experience. And the whole night I just stayed up and I read the whole Bhagavatam, first canto, because it was food for the soul. So those experiences of faith and food for your soul, it's so undeniable. And we have to remember these because we forget how we came, why we came, how Krishna convinced us. That's why these stories are so nectar, because it makes us remember how Krishna and Prabhupada convinced us by these literatures. So this is not just some hyperbole. This is very, very practical, that books are the basis. Because Krishna himself will convince the soul. Prabhupada said, what will your preaching do? If they just read one line of this book, their whole life can completely change. That's how powerful these books are, because it's non-different from Krishna. We have to understand that. So if you can somehow give them Krishna by giving them this book, Krishna will convince them. And once you get food for your soul, you can never forget that the rest of your lifetime. And nothing else you read, nothing else you look at, nothing can even come close to that. And then hearing that from my spiritual master, Srila Govinda Swami, was just another, incredible experience and opportunity of hearing Bhagavatam from self-realized soul, and he's explaining all the subtleties, all the nuances, all the meaning. It's just like pure nectar. So we would go to that class like, what are we going to discover today? What will be the new discovery, the new revelation, the new reconciliation or confirmation? So every day was so interesting because you would get something out of that class that you never imagined, you didn't expect. It literally answered everything that you were trying to understand. So it gives you so much faith and an undeniable experience. And that's why you can understand, how all the mercy of Krishna goes into the Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. Krishna is the speaker of the Bhagavatam. That's why these books are so powerful. Otherwise, it's a false ego platform. You're trying to preach. You got your false ego. They got their false ego. Nobody wants to listen. Everyone wants to establish themselves, right? He just said, look, I'm just, everything's in the book. You just read this book, you have faith in God, you pray to God, you read this book, you see for yourself. Prabhupada said, certainly they will become purified and develop faith. Certainty, certainly. It must work. If they're a little simple, if they're a little bit pious, if they're curious, that's even better. I always love this story how I was in Canada distributing Bhagavad Gitas, and one boy went running by, and I stopped him. I said, why are you running? He said, I'm running to the bookstore. I said, I was going to say I never saw anyone running to the bookstore, but I remember running to the bookstore. But he's running to the bookstore, and I said, why are you running to the bookstore? This book must be very important to you. What are you looking for? He says, Bhagavad Gita. And I have a box of Bhagavad Gita. I'm on the back street in the middle of this huge city, and there's one boy running up the street to go to the bookstore to buy a Bhagavad Gita. And I said, you won't believe it. He's like, what? I said, here's a Bhagavad Gita. He's like, come on. This is unbelievable. I said, I know. I feel the same way. He's like, and he was holding the book like, oh my God, like you're so fortunate, He was like, and I said, but if you can, give a donation. Sure, give it as much as you can. They gave a nice donation. I gave him the book, gave him contact information. So Krishna is doing this thing. Krishna knows this person is looking for me. This person trying to understand me, wants to surrender to me. This soul is crying to me. Krishna make that arrangement. But if we're not there, then how do we help Krishna to make that contact? Every one of us became devotee because of books. Every single one of us. The books convinced us. And then prashadam. Because the book is between you, God in your heart, and what you're reading. There's no one else there. There's no guru. There's no institution. There's no peer pressure. It's basically you, the soul, praying to God, reading the Shastra, and it's up to Krishna to convince us. So the problem is not from Krishna's side, it's from our side. So that's why the book distribution is so critical, because that brings new souls. And this is a preaching movement. And that's why also prasadam is so powerful, because the prasadam will purify their consciousness. And if you give them book, purify their consciousness, they can become devoted. I remember one time I was distributing the books, and this person from Australia came to me and said, oh, no, I know about you people. I know about you people. And I said, what about us people? And they said, I heard that you guys put drugs in your food. And I said, no, this is impossible. We'll not put any drugs in the food. They said, all I know is once you eat that food, you're never the same after that. So they thought it was like some drugs. They don't understand that this is Krishna's mercy, completely purify you and wake you up and give you a startup chance to start your spiritual life. But for a materialistic person, they don't understand that. They don't understand the power of prasadam. That's why when someone, you can't give them a book, you can't really preach to them. You can give them prasadam. Everybody loves to eat something nice, right? So let them take prasadam. And that prasadam will completely purify them. I remember one time my grandfather, he was dying. He was in an old age home. My father called me on the phone. He said, you have to come to the hospital and you have to see grandfather because he's getting ready soon. He'll be leaving his body. I said, Father, definitely I'll come. He said, can you please bring some of that spiritual food with you? Because I want to make sure before he dies that he has the spiritual food. I was like, how my father has such faith in prasadam. It's unbelievable. And then I went to the hospital and I had this glubumin or something, you know, and I just like stuff it in my grandfather's mouth. He goes, he's like trying to eat it, you know. I don't even know if he knows what's happening, you know. And it doesn't even matter, really. You know, I took some tulsi and I took some sweet. It wasn't a big glubumin. I wasn't trying to kill him. Some sweet, you know. Put it in his mouth, and my father was so happy because he was so attached to the grandfather, and he was grateful to the grandfather, so he wanted to help him spiritually. So how? You don't even know, like, even the ordinary family member has so much faith in prasadam. That means they know. They can see there's some power, some spiritual power in that prasadam. So prasadam, book distribution, very, very important. It's the lifeblood of this movement. Books are the basis. And prasadam is part of that process, treatment program, and also keep everybody happy. Those beginning devotees, they were going sometimes to the donut shop and they were eating donuts. And then Prabhupada, he found out about it. He said, well, it's better you don't eat anything outside. So I'll make some sweets for you. He made, was it Simply Wonderfuls, right? So Prabhupada made huge containers of Simply Wonderful. So anytime you feel like you want to eat something sweet, just eat this thing. Just eat this Simply Wonderful. You don't have to go to the donut shop. Because Prabhupada understood they want to eat something sweet. They're used to eating something sweet, but make it prasadam. Let them take prasadam. That will purify them. And once they get purified, then they become more inquisitive. Then give them some book. Chant Hare Krishna. They like music. Do some music. Chant Hare Krishna. They like to dance. Okay, dance. Chant, dance. Take prasadam. Go back to God. And they love chapatis. We never knew it as chapati. Whether Prabhupada was making 10 boys, 10 chapatis twice a day. So here's Prabhupada on a small stove, rolling and making 200 chapatis a day for these hippies. Can you imagine? And they're just like, they're just sitting there just like, This is fantastic. And Prabhupada knows this prasadam, they have no idea. And Prabhupada's cooking with his own hand and offering to Krishna. And they're eating directly that prasadam. No wonder they all became devotees. They had no say in the matter. So prasadam made them devotees. Chanting, hearing the books, this is the program. This is the treatment program. And this is how we're going to expand the preaching movement. They're not handing out the books because they have nobody to preach to them. They're selfish. They can't take care of anybody. Like, why would you hand out the books and all the people come and there's nobody there to take care of them? So better, Krishna doesn't let them come. And when it's ready, and there's somebody to properly take care of them, then there'll be the right books, and then there'll be the right personnel, and then that soul will come. So it's actually a blessing that they're not coming there. Because they can't take care of them. And then if they go and get a bad experience, then they said, oh, ISKCON, oh, Hare Krishna. So better they wait for the right situation. No loss. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for your association. Yeah? You having fun? Yeah.
Srila Gurudev, we have a friend, Mataji, came today.
Who?
One Mataji, like she was having arrangement with
One Mataji I met when I first came to temple in UK.
One Mataji from the UK?
Yeah, from Bhagavat Mataji. She was like kind of my mother when I moved to the temple.
Oh, really?
She helped me so much, and she gave me. She also gave me the Bhagavatam set first time.
Oh, she brought up the server?
No.
She's elderly lady in the back?
Yeah.
Did she came here because you invited her?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What's her name?
Bhagavat Mataji. Bhagavat.
Bhagavat?
Yeah.
Bhagavat Mataji from the UK. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you for sending your son. We're trying to help him. We have a team of experts working
Round the clock.
The mother's like, "Phew, I did all I could, you know." He's a wild one. A wild one. But he's doing all right. He's doing good. We got a nice wife and some DDs and a few friends and a lot of prasadam. Eats a lot of pasta, a lot of halava.
And last question.
Yeah.
Should I live the life of a brahmacharya, shaving off my hair, or grow a sikha behind?
It's already gone. Just got to get rid of the side pieces, you know? You got a sikha?
No, I don't have.
Yeah, grow it. Keep the sikha and just cut off the rest of it. Then you'll fit right in. Then you come to Assam with us with a nice bald head, shaved clean, right? You'll feel good. You'll feel very light. Cool head, cool brain. Then you'll forget about all these assassins trying to kill you. All these sheikhs from Dubai, you know, shaking you down. Any last thing? Is everyone all right? Everyone feel good? Which is, we're glorifying Bhagavatam, glorifying holy name, glorifying Prasadam, glorifying devotees, Srila Prabhupada. This is nectar. It's a pure nectar, right?
Something,
You have prasad?
something to hand out.
Oh, this is very fitting that we should be handing out prasadam. Isn't it?
Yes.
We glorify prasadam. How can we not give you prasadam? All right, let's send out some prasad to everybody. These look like
Simply wonderful.
balabas. These are black, simply wonderfuls. Sham Sundar, simply wonderful. Hare Krishna. Wow, this is very good timing with the prasadam. Hare Krishna. Hare Bo. Hare Krishna. Jai Jagannath. Prasad? Other hand.
Другую правую руку. Поклон сделать.
No, welcome, welcome. You survived? Adam, you want to give to your mother? Where is it?
Где эта матушка, которая пришла из Искон? Держи грязно. Да нет. Она с Англии. Она с Матаматаджи с... Живет в Майапуре.
I'm not going anywhere.
Ученица Шри Прабхупады.
You get too much preaching.
Ученица Шри Прабхупады.
And she took care of
Передал
the deities,
Гирданду.
Radhamadava deities in Belfast.
Служит Радамады в Искон темпле.
Oh. Where'd you pick this guy up?
I got the Bhagavad Gita from the library. It was put there by devotees in Ireland, and then I read, and then it had address in the back of the book, and I knocked on the door, and it was that their temple.
Wow.
Devotees were there.
Nice. Maybe one day we'll go preaching in the UK.
The beautiful deities in Ireland. Beautiful, nice.
Everything is nice.
Everything's nice.
Needs fixing.
Yes.
Рассказывает там историю, как он в библиотеке изучал Бхагавад-гиту. Красивый божества, правильно. Матушка рассказывает.
Where is it?
In Belfast.
Why don't we go there?
Yeah.
You want us to go there?
Well, you have to, I have to, I'm obviously I'm not the manager, I can't make decisions.
Yeah, but if I bring
But
you
I
with
can,
me.
I can communicate. I can
Divine
communicate.
medium. She says they're crying out for people to come and like breathe and do something.
But the more you
Who's the GBC guy?
Pradosh.
Oh, is that good or bad?
I think I just read the news, they wanted him again to go again because there was nobody, and then in the mood of service he's accepted again the role of GBC for UK and Ireland.
Then why nobody's joining? If you can see in pictures, how come nobody's joining? Nobody's staying. Nobody wants to do the hard work now.
There's a temple in Belfast, a small house with basically nobody. Water all around it. Yeah, the shot is super beautiful temple around surrounded with the deities and inside. And they have a dedicated Rasta theme there. Become present for many West does. And there's a research center there as well. Yeah, in Belfast there is
Спасибо, спасибо. Спасибо. Спасибо.
Leave that. Leave that, and then you have next one. Islam standard. Let's try and let's Krishna wants to make it out. As long as you're willing to do whatever Krishna wants you to. All right?
Hare Krishna.
Train is leaving. No, it's fine. We just pray to Krishna. Because he's trying to sell it. You saw this dude? Big ones? Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. And they have different forms, huh? Yeah. Just take it. Take the person.
Jai. В следующий раз надо вперед приходить. О, вот он.
Just straight through the door.
Okay, I have to go. Я побежала.
А ти ж грибо.